So, they actually dropped the demo, a DragonSword Awakening, from the people who made Dragon Nest, one of the best combat systems ever put in an MMO. And I don't say that lightly. I've been watching this game since day one. The trailers looked incredible, but trailers always look incredible. That's basically their job. The question is, whether the combat actually feels like a Dragon Nest when your hands are on it. 1 hour with the demo, let's find out. First thing you see is this logo, and look, I know it's a small detail, but the logo design is pure JRPG. It got that Final Fantasy energy, where you can almost smell the orchestral soundtrack through the screen. That's a very good sign. Game opens up with a cinematic boss fight, not a tutorial, not a text box. A dragon tearing your party apart in the first 30 seconds. Three characters down before you even touch a button. Welcome to DragonSword. Then he pulls back. 15 days earlier, classic anime move, show you something insane, then make you earn your way back to it. One of the characters dies, another one turns into a demon or an angel or something. I couldn't tell. The cutscene was awesome though, I give it that. Then the game drops you straight into a character called Loot. No character select screen, no class picks. You just wake up as this guy in a field, rapids are poking you, there's some weird rat sitting on your head. And the world around you is straight up beautiful. I'm talking peak JRPG art direction, the colors popping, the lighting dialed in, everything looks super crisp. This is what happens when Dragon Nest devs get a real budget. Everything around him looks like an anime that costs too much to produce. But pretty graphics don't mean anything if the combat is garbage. So let's stop window shopping and get in there. Here's where it matters. First swing of my weapon, and I'm already comparing it to Dragon Nest, because that's the bar. If you never played Dragon Nest, just know that game had combat so tight, so responsive, that every other MMO combat system felt like you were swinging a pool noodle. And DragonSword, the first hit feels good, actually good. The animations are smooth, the input is responsive, movement doesn't feel like I'm dragging my character through mud. For a game that started its life as a Gacha mobile title, this has no business feeling this clean. I'm doing basic combos on some goblins, and the flow is there. It's simplified compared to Dragon Nest full skill bar setup, but the foundation is solid. The bones are right. You can feel the DNA of Dragon Nest in this game. Then the game asks me to run around collecting chests, and I know exactly what this is. This is the Gacha DNA showing through. I've talked about this before in other videos. I hate this. Running around giant map picking up shiny boxes is not content. It's busy work designed to inflate playtime. But then I push a tree over and it falls across a gap to make a bridge. Okay, that's actually cool. Interactive environment stuff like that makes the world feel less like a painted backdrop. I find an elf lady getting jumped by goblins. A goblin slayer mode activated. I charge in, start swinging, and discover you can grab enemies mid-combo, pick them up and throw them. That aircraft feels pure Dragon Nest. That game lived on juggling enemies in the air and keeping combos going. Seeing it here made me sit up straight. There's a cutscene where my character heals Castella after the fight. The animation looks clean and it gives the team dynamic some weight. You're not just swapping characters. These characters actually interact with each other. Speaking of which, I meet a character named Castella who uses a massive axe. She's basically the destroyer. She got the spin move, she got the screaming overhead slam. I swap to her and within 10 seconds I'm grinning. Playing her immediately sends me back to 2012, sitting in my computer chair grinding Dragon Nest dungeons at 2 in the morning. That specific kind of heavy weapon satisfaction, where every hit feels like you're swinging a truck door. The combat swaps between 3 characters on the fly. It's not exactly what I want, but I'd prefer one character with full skill loadout. But I get why they did it. The original game was Gacha, so the roster system is baked in. And honestly, swapping between 3 fighters to chain combos together, it works. It actually creates this flow where you're constantly rotating abilities. I meet the assassin character in cutscene and he looks incredible. Dark design, fast movement, the whole package. Then the name card drops. His name is Johnny. Johnny. You give this man the coolest character design in the game and call him Johnny. That's like naming a dragon biscuit. Also, the voice acting is Korean. No Japanese audio option in this demo build. And look, I watch enough Korean dramas that the language sounds natural to me. But for an anime style game like this, a Japanese audio just hits different. Hopefully that's coming for launch. I run into an orc warrior boss in a clearing, and this fight actually tests me. I'm swapping characters mid-combo, trying to find openings, and I keep eating hits during the swap animations. This isn't like a pushover tutorial boss. I beat him and sit with my combat impressions. The feel is generally good. I want the crosshair. I want mouse-directed camera movement like Dragonest had, where the cursor controls your aim and the camera follows. That's my biggest ask, but the core responsiveness is there. The animations read clean, the hit feedback feels weighty, every swing connects with the purpose. Then the game hands me a mount. This thing is a giant blue beetle, and it can glide, dash, climb, swim, and straight up fly. Getting a mount this capable this early is a smart design call. Nobody wants to sprint for 300 meters between quest markers. Let me fly. And the world is built for it. I'm launching off windmill platforms, gliding across valley, landing on cliff tops. The exploration flow feels natural and fast. The quests are a bit of a mixed bag. Some of them are carry this thing from A to B errands that feel like a filler. I'm literally picking up a sheep and carrying it back to its owner. I'm moving puzzle objects from one spot to another. This is the mobile game DNA showing through. These are the kind of quests gacha games use to pad a daily login engagement, and they don't really belong in a $30 package game. I hope the full release trims this down hard. But the towns look straight out of Dragonest. I'm walking into a tavern and there are drunk NPCs sleeping on the floor next to barrels. Bottles everywhere. The capital city has the same warm fantasy architecture with stone walls and merchant stalls. Walking through these streets hit me with genuine nostalgia. The devs clearly kept the Dragonest town DNA alive, and I respect that. I also meet mercenary groups in the story, a Red Fox mercenaries, guild politics, the whole JRPG narrative setup. I'll be honest, I don't pay close attention to story or lore. I'm here for the combat, but the world building seems solid for people who care about that stuff. I unlock Arya, an archer character, and her ranged combat feels pretty good. Arrows have weight. I'm also able to take a look at the full roster. We got Reyna the Knight, Roxy the Archer, who moves like a Dragonest Windwalker, Ornette, who looks like a healer, and Theresa. Theresa is a nun fighting with what looks like a flail. A nun with a flail. Sold. I run a dual archer team for a while because the ranged gameplay is pretty satisfying to me. Into the caves. Mining nodes, explosive walls, resource gathering, standard stuff. But the enemies down here actually push back. The groups of goblins require me to manage my character rotations. The giant cave spider forces me to use vertical attacks and jumping on spider bags, smashing down, swapping the Castella for a big slam, then rotating the area for range cleanup. I try entering the goblin cave dungeon at low level and get crushed. Enemies hit hard and tank my attacks. I can't brute force this with skill alone. Stats matter here. I retreat, level my team to 10, invest gold into upgrades, and come back. This is where the 3-character system starts clicking. You're not just button smashing. You're building combo chains across your roster. Hit an enemy with the Castell's break status. Swap to your main for stun follow-up. Swap to area for airborne stacking. And 9 different status elements in the system. The depth is here if you want it. The cave spider is also disgusting and I love it. Big hairy legs, creepy animations, pretty good monster design I would say. Managing 3 health bars, but these things warm you, forces you to actually think about which character to lead with. I find a dungeon, level 10 recommended. Inside there's a dragon statue, sitting on a pedestal. Every instinct says, don't touch it. I touch it. Pedestal opens, the door locks, the dragon roars somewhere in the dark. It's a trap. It was always going to be a trap. A massive dragon shows up in the cutscene. It's way too polished for a demo. This thing is ugly in the best way. Full cinematic reveal, team looking tiny in comparison. Then it becomes a chase sequence. Running across the collapsing stone bridge while dodging falling rocks. Timing dashes to avoid getting smushed. And honestly, the chase feels a little stiff. Camera gets awkward during these scripted escape moments. I take some boulders in my face because the controls don't feel as tight. when the game is kind of forcing you to run forward. I'd rather just stand my ground and fight the thing head on. Johnny shows up with his usual sarcasm, mocks Roxy's clumsy running. Fair. We team up and the actual dragon fight begins. I can grapple into Dragon's back, climb up, and start swinging from on top of it. Pure Monster Hunter energy. They grapple, they climb, they overhead strikes while riding a dragon's spine. Characters swapping mid-fight on a dragon's back while fire is everywhere. We kill it. 12-minute clear time, full set of rare blue gear as a reward. I equip everything immediately and the stat boost is quite noticeable. The combat during this boss fight felt incredible. That's the moment where DragonSword stopped being promising and became I'm buying this. I finished every piece of content in this demo, about an hour of gameplay, and I need to be straight with you. This demo completely sold me. I walked in expecting a gacha board with pretty graphics and shallow combat. What I got was responsive, well-animated action combat built on Dragon-esque DNA, with a world that actually looks and feels like a proper JRPG. The performance is locked at 120 frames, no stuttering, no hitsync, just clean. There are things that I want: a mouse-directed camera like Dragon-esque had, a crosshair for tighter aiming, a fewer fetch quests from the gacha era, and I'd personally prefer controlling one character with full skill bar instead of swapping 3, but that's just a preference, not a deal breaker. 19 characters on launch roster, all free in the base game, no gacha pulls, costumes and familiars sold as a DLC, not loot boxes, 8 chapters, 20 to 30 hours of main story, fully playable offline, 0 stamina system, unlimited farming. This is what happens when devs strip the gacha skeleton out of a game and rebuild it as a real product. If you grew up playing Dragon-esque, go download this demo right now. Don't wait for reviews, don't wait for launch day discourse, put your hands on it and feel it for yourself, because Dragon-esque combat is something you can't convey through video. You have to feel the input yourself to understand why people still glaze the game's combat in 2026. This one is going to my buy list, no hesitation. Thanks for the time, see you in the next one, back to the grind.